So today I'm having my baby Mickey tutorial just to celebrate our 10,000 subscribers. As I promised, I was going to bring Mickey. I think I used Instagram and Twitter to ask if you guys want the baby Mickey or the normal Mickey, and I couldn't pick one, so I'm gonna make both, but the baby Mickey's here. So I'm using the 50 millimeters ball and the clay just to cover it. I don't want excess on that styrofoam ball. I just wanted to cover it, and we're gonna do that and smooth it out. And if you're using gum paste or fondant, just adapt to your material for edibles. And if you're using cold porcelain or any other, you can still use the tutorial and just adapt. So I'm using the palm of my hands to smooth and get any marks off. With the hard cookie cutter, I'm just gonna place right there until I touch the ball, and I'm gonna get this half heart access off because we're gonna make his face with the skin color. But I don't want the skin color to just be placed on the top of the black, like his face is not part of his head, if that makes sense. I like to make those indentations and then put the face right there. I'm just making sure that I didn't lose the shape, and then it's still a heart. And I'm gonna put a little toothpick and let it dry. If you're making that and you have time, just let it dry overnight because it's easier for you to do the rest. But if you're not like me, just be careful. I'm making 2 little balls. It's kind of like 8 grams each. For the ears, I'm just pushing down my table and making a circle. You can make thicker if you think you like better, but I just like for this baby Mickey a little bit like thinner. And I'm just making sure that both ears are the same size. So now I'm opening a little bit of skin color, and I'm gonna use the same cutter to make a heart so we can puzzle it together, and that piece, then we cut it off. So now I'm gonna just place it there and make all the clay to touch each other. So that's why I say then it's easier if you let it dry, because then you're not gonna get the black part to move. But since I'm making the video and I want to show you guys, I'm just being a little careful. And if you using edible, you can use a little bit of water to stick them together. If you're using cold porcelain, if you feel like you need it, you can use a little glue, but my clay is kind of soft, so I don't need to. And I'm just smoothing out the part and I mess it up to put in the face since it's not dry, but just make sure then it's a heart. So now with the 12 grams, we're gonna make a roll and use 2 fingers on each side to make it smaller, just like that, to start making his cheeks and his face. This is the most important part for Mickey, I think, because if you get this wrong, it's not gonna look like it. So I made the 2 indentations on the side, and I'm gonna place on the face to start modeling, because I think it's easier for you to see how he needs to look. I'm making sure that the sides are rounded, and then it's on the line. Then I want the eyes, because the eyes go right on top of that, and I'm just getting the excess down. I'm not worrying about cutting the excess under his mouth, because he's lying down sleeping, so you're not gonna see that. So when I don't need to see it, I don't need to waste my time making it pretty. And now I'm just pushing it down the both sides and marking the mouth. Since he is sleeping, he doesn't have an open mouth, but I like to make a little line between them, just to give the impression that he still have that smile face. And I'm just pushing the nose back and making the indentation right there where we're gonna make the line for his sleepy smile. I'm just checking where I want to put the nose, and now I'm gonna mark with the 2 what the mouth is. I'm not gonna open, I'm just gonna push them together again. I just want the line, the mark, but not like an open. I'm not gonna see his tongue or anything. And be sure then you look like the way he looks, then it's not too big, and then it's not going to the sides of his mouth or his face, just to have the same amount of clay on both sides. And now with the ball tool, I'm just marking where I'm gonna place his nose and making a little indentation on both sides just to make the cheeks pop a little. And now I'm gonna mark where I am going to place the eyes. You don't need to do that. I'm just showing you guys that you can do that too. Since he's sleeping, he doesn't have the eyes open. You can just place on the top a very skinny layer and then, you know, just draw. I'm just showing this, you guys, how the wrong is. So if you put too much, it's gonna look like his eyes is popping. So you try, and then you get a little less. You want the eyelids to be flat on his face, just like this side. See, I will fix the first one. I just wanted to show you guys how you don't want it to be. You don't want it to pop out. You want it to be flat on his face. So now I'm making it smaller to the other side too. I just didn't cut it out of the video because I want you guys to see it. I know the light's still not really good. My lights didn't get here, but since we got to the 10,000 subscribers, I wanted to place the video, I promise, but it's coming, I promise. So now I made a little ball and a little like teardrop shape, and we're gonna place the nose on his face, right where we marked. Right there. Be sure that the nose is up, you know, the top part of his mouth is up. Now with the 40 millimeters ball and double on the amount of clay, we're gonna cover a ball in a pear shape. Like you're gonna leave the ball on the bottom of all those amount of clay. You just want the excess to make his body. So the ball is right on the bottom, and then you get all the excess up. Be careful to air to don't go in. And once you have the pear shape, just to smooth it out everything. Get a little the top off just for you to give a little, and like the finishing really pretty. Press down on your table to get any marks off, and we're gonna have this pear shape right here. Put in the table and push down with your palms to make the back, so you have that part, the ball, foam ball. Then you can see right there is the butt, and the rest is the part of his body. And now I'm just being sure that I don't have any marks or anything. So I made a little roll to start making the feet, and I mark with up and down on my finger, and now I'm just gonna press down to make his feet. Since he's using a onesie, it's super easy because you don't need to make any details. You just mark the feet. I like to measure on the body so I know where to cut and where to do the rest of the legs, and then I cut and I make the circle part as his thigh will be. And now I'm gonna use the tool to make just like fabric marks, just to give a little bit more impression that it's a body, not just a piece of clay, just to, you know, to look cuter. And make sure that it's rounded in the right place. And the feet is right there, the foot, because we're gonna put the other one. And now we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I don't know the amount of clay right here because as you can see, I make it and I cut it at the body so I know exactly the size I want. So I go up and down on my row just to mark where the foot's gonna be. I push flat together, make sure that it's kind of in the foot shape, and then I will put in a body and cut the excess. So that's why I don't have like a measurement for you guys, but I just place there into the same place that I put on the other side, and then I'm gonna cut the excess off and make it round again. Just like that. I just want to say thank you for everybody that watch my videos. Say like from the bottom of my heart, I know that this 10,000 subscribers is kind of like a dream. I remember when I have 100, and then I just made the videos for the fun. I don't even know if somebody's watching, so I'm very happy and I'm very glad that you guys are liking it. So thank you so much. I was just making the marks for the clothes again, and we have his bottom there. So now with the same green, we're gonna start making his arms. It doesn't have too much detail too, because kind of is hiding under his body, but I make one a little longer than the other to give the impression, because he's holding his head, so the back one's gonna be a little longer. I'm gonna use the tool to mark the sleeve, just to give like a pajama feel, and the same thing to the other side. I make flat on the bottom one. I'm gonna put the like the hand, and now I'm gonna place right there, so that will be the back hand. That's the little longer one that's gonna need to show on the front of the Mickey part, if that makes sense. But if you guys look, it's easier. And then the other hand is gonna go across on the top of that one. This one I'm gonna make the a little indentation for the upper arm, just because you're gonna see that side of your topper, and I'm just making these 2 marks of the fabric. I didn't do that on the back because that's the back arm, but this one is the front of the topper, so we need to make it. And just check it out where you want it to look, and be sure that the 2 sleeves are close together, so when you put the arms, they're gonna be on the top of each other. So now I'm mixing a white and just a tiny bit of green, because I want to be like a shade lighter, like probably like 2 shade lighters, so to make the pocket. And I'm so sorry, all my kids are screaming. They still on vacation, so they're still making noise. I'm gonna open with the rolling pin, and we're gonna make the pocket to put on. It's like a onesie, so I thought it was going to be cute for him to have a pocket on his bottom. I'm just marking with that tool to look like the pocket is like 3D, it's not just flat on his bottom. And I'm gonna place right there, and making sure that it's not stuck in there. I'm just using the craft foam because I think it's easier to dry and to don't get stuck anything. And with that tool, I'm just gonna mark like you sew, like, you know, when it's closed. I really like to do that, like the Minions, then have pockets, things like that, just to give a little detail. So now I'm making 2 balls like for the buttons, but I want the buttons to look like the Mickey Mouse shape. So you make a ball on each side, and then you put little balls, like 2 balls in each, to make the head shape, you know, the ears. And the same thing the other side. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any tutorials. Here you can find anything for your party, and we have videos in Portuguese too if you prefer. And now with 2 little balls in white, we're gonna start making his hand. It's good because he has the hand under his head, so it's a really good, easy tutorial to start because it's not complicated. So you make kind of like a triangle shape, and you're gonna cut a little V right there to separate the thumb and the other fingers. And then you smooth because you don't want those flat lines. You just want like round lines like your fingers. And don't forget the Mickey Mouse has just 4 fingers, not 5. So we make very round, and then you cut the other 3 fingers. And smooth the edges again. I'm just folding just a little bit, but that's not necessary because it's gonna be under his face anyway. And now I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. This side I'm gonna cut it, leave it a little longer, and I'm gonna cut the thumb a little smaller because it's gonna be under the other arm, the other hand, and I don't want it to be bulky. So I wanted to give the impression that he has the thumb, but it's not gonna show up. So I'm just gonna make a little smaller. And now I'm gonna smooth the edges and cut the other 3 fingers. And you get all the edges pretty rounded and cute. And as you can see, this hand is a little longer. I will cut the other one and soon too, just for you guys to see. Then it's easier sometimes, since you're not gonna see it, to hide, you know, little tricks. With the toothpick, I'm gonna put in both sides just to be sure that the hands are gonna be in place and not gonna move until it's dry. And now you see this hand is a little longer, and I'm gonna cut really short for the back side. And then we're gonna put the other one to the other side a little longer because it's under and it's gonna show more. It's a little bit longer, and we're gonna place under there. I know that it's easier for you to say, oh, let's put that hand first, but I just like to see where the top hand is gonna be, because that's the one you're gonna see the most. Just see where it is first before I place the under one. Now I'm gonna make a simple bow. You can leave the bottom part, or you can cut it like I did because you're not gonna see it. But just make 2 snakes and a loop and put them together. You can make it really pretty easy bow, but I cut it the bottom ones because I didn't want just 2 pieces of clay just showing up without, you know, why. So you can leave it like that, or you can just grab the 2 pieces off like I am going to do, because it's under his head, so you're not gonna see it. And now I'm gonna place right there. And I'm gonna fold it the sides a little bit. It looks like a butterfly, just to give like a bow detail kind of style. And now we're gonna make a little circle flat to start making his hat. It's not his sleeping hat. So I'm just gonna open really flat, but not too thin, because you don't want to see the black, you know, part of his head. And I'm gonna make a long row, just because that long part then comes around, but we're not gonna do it there now. So just set it aside, and I'm gonna make a ball with the white for the bottom of his hat, and we're gonna set aside as well. So I want to cut one of those circle sides flat. That's the side that's gonna be on the top of his face, and we're gonna place right next to the face, and we're gonna go all around. Just smooth out all this dough until you cover all the head. Just like that. You don't need to worry too much because you're not gonna see it. As you can see, my black wasn't dry, so it's kind of full of fingerprints, but you're not gonna see when you place together on your topper. And this is the part that's head and is gonna, you know, be lying on his shoulders. And we're gonna place right there. And use anything you have at the back of the paintbrush or a tool, anything to smooth and put it together. Just looks like it's just one thing. I leave it longer than you need. I'm just cutting the excess off, but I still a little longer than I'm probably gonna leave it. But since it's not in the body yet, it's hard. I put it on the top of the phone and the craft phone, and now I'm gonna place the head. So I have the phone to hold it together really straight, like sturdy until it's dry. And now I'm gonna place the head the way I want, and probably gonna cut a little bit more this hat than is going down, because now it's touching my table. So now we're gonna place the ears. You can put a little toothpick and a little glue if you're using cold porcelain, or a little water if you're using edible materials. Since I'm using cold porcelain this time, I just use like normal white glue. Place the ear right there. And now that little white ball that we set at the side and is a little bit more dry now, I'm gonna use the scissor just to cut it out to look like a pom-pom, just to give the impression like a texture. And that's what we're gonna do and put in the bottom of his head. we're gonna cut it all around to get the texture all around. I'm gonna cut the excess of the hat off because I want the bow to be right there, to look like the pom-pom and the end of the hat. A little glue and set in place. Just like that. So now we made a really long snake that's gonna go around his ear and it's gonna go in front of his face. That's the edge of his sleeping hat. And I'm gonna cut it right there. And we're gonna do that in the back too, but I don't do one round thing because we have the ear right there. So you want the impression that the ear, you know, is under the hat, not just on the top of the hat. So you see that I have a little white on his ears, then I fix it later. That's why I like to use the craft foam, so the foam doesn't get stuck in wet stuff. But we can fix it. With the little star stamp, I'm just gonna stamp some details on his hat just to look cuter. But if you don't have it, you can stamp anything or make stripes, making lines, whatever. And then with the tool then we use for his clothes, we're gonna make all the fabric marks for the hat. All the way around, going down to the bottom of the head and being sure that everything is stuck together. And the pockets up, and that's was missing a little detail on his feet, just like because it's a cute pajama, you know, we want the bottom of the feet to be cute too. So you make two little balls, and we're gonna put a little glue and put it right there to give a little detail on the bottom. I'm just flattening the ball and leaving one side a little thicker than the other, like a teardrop shape without the top, just to give the impression that his feet is larger, what the toes are, than, you know, the back of his feet. And the same thing to the other side. I hope you guys like this tutorial. Please give me a thumbs up if you're watching, and subscribe if you haven't yet, because you're gonna have so much more coming. I stamped 2 stars right there, and I think it's pretty much almost done. Before you make anything else, you can let it dry. I'm not letting it dry yet, but we're gonna make really tiny snake in black to make the bottom part of his eyes, because he's sleeping. You can let it dry and just trace it with the pen, but since I'm making the video, I wanted to show you guys. It's harder to make the line with the clay because you want the line to be very skinny, but you can totally wait for the face to dry overnight and just use like a Sharpie or something like that. It's like the eyelash, you know, line right there to give the impression that he's really sleeping. And the eyebrows, we're just gonna put a little bit on one side and the skinny one to the other side. You can leave straight or a little bit more curvy. That will depend on how you want him to look. I like curvy a little bit more because it looks a little sweeter. And we place to the other side. And he's almost done. We're gonna give him a little color, like pink color on his cheeks and on the top of his nose, just to make his skin look a little bit more alive. And he's done. You just let it dry and you can use him, and you can make Minnie the same way. If you guys want to see Minnie Mouse because she has the bow and the ears and you think it's a little bit more complicated and you want to see her in like a skirt pajamas, let me know. I totally gonna do that for you. Thanks so much again for the 10,000 subscribers. I'm really happy that you guys are watching, and I'm gonna talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys like this video. Bye.